This is Ben here with Olson's Hi-Fi. This week we're playing with the JC5 stereo amplifier. This review or listening impression is long overdue, and a couple of things I wanted to clear up right from the beginning. When I did my review of the Hint 6, I said something along the lines of generalized some Parasound Halo products in a positive light, and then I said with exception of the JC5. And so, of course, looking back on that, that kind of seemed as if though maybe I intimated something negative about this amp, and that's definitely not the case. What I meant was those products are all fantastic. The JC5 is in a class all of its own. It has a different sound than the rest of the Halo products. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't sound like a Parasound gear or whatever. It definitely sounds like a Halo product. It has a little bit of that Parasound signature flavor, if there is such a thing. But there are some things in addition to this that it's Parasound but more gooder. How about that? So the first thing I want to address is just the build quality of the amp. And I don't get too much into, layout of, like I said, this is not a review, this is a listening impression. So I'm not going to go over the specifications and the layout of the amps that I'm talking about. This is me enjoying a product, listening to it, and giving you my thoughts on it. And so here they are. The JC5, like everything, just has immense power. As I had said, the Halo Hint 6 has balls. This has 4 of them. It's a mutant. So the next thing that I'd say is, this amp is definitely a little more extended on the high end. It's got a real nice warm Class A extended treble to it. I'd say kind of airy and holographic. Just a great product. And we've experienced that with all the speakers that we've plugged into this. Just to name a few, the Blade, which isn't an easy speaker to run, and this never really seemed stressed at any point. The JC5 just kept up all day long. Even when Coach Jack Daniels stepped into the mix and forced us to turn up the volume a little bit, we pushed those Blades and this amp pretty hard, and no disappointment. This amp is just a champ with regard to being able to handle difficult speakers and still sound good without distortion. The other thing that I noticed that's a characteristic of Parasound amps, but even more so on this, is just a huge soundstage, but more detailed, more layered. We just had a lot of fun listening to tracks that we were familiar with the different speakers, and kind of doing some comparisons in the shop. And so some of what I'm saying isn't just me, it's an amalgamation of what everyone in the shop is had to say about this as well, because that's I have some guys that are a lot more experienced than myself, and so I can't help but let some things they say influence my thoughts and opinions on things that I hear. So but yeah, we've definitely had the KEF Reference 1s, of course, which I have plugged in today, the Reference 5, the Blades, as I mentioned, the Monitor Audio Platinum 300s, the Golden Ear Triton 1R, as well as Monitor Audio's new Gold 300, the Generation 5, that has the air motion transformer like the Platinum series. And these characteristics that I've heard have stayed consistent throughout all of the speakers that we've listened to. So and then some of the sources that we've used in a Render A10 DAC streamer. We've of course used this little Marantz CD, the CD streamer, the ND8006, And as well as we've used the JC3 pre-phono with the Roxanne Radius 7 turntable and played a lot of vinyl. And just had a lot of listening time. And so I was really glad to be able to take some extra time this week to be able to spend some time with this amp to kind of refresh my memory. Because I think, as I mentioned, this listening impression video is long overdue. We've just been really wrapped up doing all the things that it takes to do to keep a stereo shop running. So anyways, my thoughts in closing are, this is tremendous build quality and tremendous sound and power for the money, but don't take my word for it. Come to Olson's Hi-Fi and see for yourself. Thank you for joining me today.